Well, ladies and gentlemen, in life, you either have substance or style. Luckily, I'm blessed with both. It's nice to start off on that note. As you can tell, I've got the dream team alongside me. I've got the juggernauts in gigantic. I've got the It's Splagnificent. I just made that up, Mapimpi. Nonetheless, to my left-hand side, it's Parnell himself, South African Proteas player and all-round stylish guy. One half of probably South Africa's most stylish couple, unofficially, according to him and his wife, Aisha Baker. We'll test that. To the left-hand side is a man who's taking TikTok by storm. It's Makazole Mapimpi, a.k.a. Shampizi himself. Nqobile Khwezi needs no introduction. The lovely lady who brings style to sports, merges cultures, merges genres. It's a genre. Apparently, I'm told it's a genre. Fresh from a trip from overseas as usual. And to the right-hand side of me, last but not least, the Maradona of Ikotini in South Africa. This man is an undisputed champion of the world. Apparently, GQ even added another day to the year just for him. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the conversation that we all needed to have. Also by myself, of course, the most stylish man in sports entertainment, the most entertaining man in sports entertainment. Yeah, for the next couple of hours. Somebody get them water, because they're struggling. But guys, jokes aside, absolute pleasure to have you guys here. Teko Modise, Mapimps, and Mr. Parnell himself looking absolutely top-notch, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for joining me. I'm going to start off the conversation with something that, when they were telling me about this whole idea and the concept of shooting here at Aldo. Shout out, by the way, to our host, Aldo. Make sure you make your way down here at Senses City. Touch base with some of the real leather that I've seen here. I'm just saying, I'm putting you on. Sports, meeting, fashion. It's a cultural movement that's been bubbling for a number of years. A lot of people don't know that this is something that started way in the 80s, in the 90s, when sort of Michael Jordan introduced the sneakers that changed the whole culture. Allen Iverson then took it on years later to change it. Practice? You ain't talking about practice? He was stylish. And then we look at the NBA stars out in America with the All-Star Weekend just having concluded. The drip is dripping, ladies and gentlemen. But when we talk about an African perspective, I do believe you beautiful gents and this lady here to my right-hand side are on the cusp of opening a new page when sports meets style. Wait, I'm gonna start with you. See, you got a cheesy grin. Wow. By the way, he looks like Jay something's lookalike.
Like, I've heard that a lot. You heard that? And funny enough, I actually played cricket against him at school level.
Was he any good?
I don't remember him actually. He's a much better musician.
But anyway, wait, starting with you, in terms of the cricketing side of things, we don't really see, sorry to say, I'm a big cricket fan. The cricketers aren't stylish, man. You guys are very... They're not really people that, you know, go out of their way to be recognizable in that manner. But you are cut from different cloth, literally. Tell me about your journey from style, nobody to style icon.
I think firstly, you're right actually in what you're saying. I think the biggest thing that I would put it down to is the fact that people are scared of being judged. And you know what the funny thing is, people are going to judge you anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
So you might as well do it on your terms, right? So for me, it's like just drawing inspiration from like having traveled, you know, being in South Africa, all the different cultures, the different cities, how people style certain stuff, and trying to take a little bit from every city, from every country, and try and make it my own as well. But I must give a big shout out to my wife. She's really pushed me a lot in that space. Now, honestly,
of course, gotta shout out the wife.
You know, from being very conservative, also probably being scared of being judged to not giving a damn type of thing, just doing it your way.
You know, talking about not giving a damn, you're going to be judged nonetheless. I mean, they judged Jesus and everybody liked him, so who are you? Nonetheless, Shampizi, I mean, you're a man that has come to real prominence, particularly on the socials. Azange, come on, with TikTok, Makazole. Kodwa, you are there. My grandmother knows you on TikTok. My mother knows you on TikTok. Hell, even my lady says, I need to start dressing like you. Where did the whole TikTok thing and the drip check come from, Makazole Mapimpi?
Wow. It's good, man, to express yourself. Different things. You know. In the rugby field, we get conditioned to just to play rugby in a certain style. It depends what the coach wants us to do in the field.
Shout out in the World Cup, by the way.
Thank you.
Third one, Lodi.
Appreciate it.
Danko.
Oof. Yeah, man, I think it's all like what he's saying now, to latch on what he's saying.
Yeah.
We're always worrying about what people want to say at the same time. So it's hard, most especially as a rugby players. The subculture that we have, it's always like straight focus, you know. And
A rugby player can't wear pink. Is that the case that we find?
a rugby player?
Tight pink shirt, and you are number one winger in the world.
I
With
think you
chinos
can.
on?
I think you can.
You
It's
can.
up to you.
You've proved that you can do anything really, as long as you do it well.
Yeah, man. I think it's, in terms of the fashion-wise or lacking in Bahla, I think
Yes,
it's
sir.
something that it's been there for me, you know, but the only thing that was kind of lacking at the same time, it's because of I couldn't afford like, clothes at the
Yeah,
same
I still
time.
can't afford. I don't know how am I here, but anyway.
Yeah, but
Aldo, shout out, yo.
yeah, but in terms of like being creative at the same time, I think it's something that I do have the sense of the fashion
Yeah.
at the same time. You know, identity I think is one of the things that I can say. I can go crazy if I want to, but
Please don't go crazy.
fashion
South Africa's already going
goes
crazy.
deep in the pocket.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Mapimpi. Nqobile, he mentioned something that sparked the thought process. That does happen, I do think. Budget. Is it equivalent to style? Can you buy class? You're a lady who travels around the world. I mean, I've seen you come through with some very expensive apparel bags that I will not mention. Literally, is it in the bag or is it something you can cook up?
I think it's something you can cook up. I think that I've seen people who have expensive taste, but when you look at the style,
Yeah, you can't buy style.
I think the one thing, you can't buy style. That's exactly what it is. I think when it comes to style, it's very personal. It's you expressing yourself in the best way possible. How you put your looks together, from the shoe to the jewelry to the accessorization. We can have the exact same tools to put an outfit together,
But it may
how
not
you're
look
gonna
the
put it will
same.
not
Yeah,
look
yeah,
the same.
yeah, like that.
Because it's a form of what makes you feel comfortable. It's what you want to like accentuate more. So when it comes to style, I think it has to be something that you put together, you express yourself, you don't think about where it comes from. And I mix and match my pieces.
yeah.
I'll get something from a particular store that might not be the most expensive.
Or
and-
one in Paris,
Yeah.
mix it with one in Italy.
You know,
check
I balance
Instagram.
it out. I like to balance it out. I like what I like.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, that's fantastic. Teko, now you're a style icon. Many people regard you as the go-to guy, the reference point of all things Kotini in South Africa. And it's been like that for a long time. Do you sometimes, no really, I gotta give you your flowers, man. Like, even my mom knows, "Mntanam, ungathi unganxiba njengoTeko." Anayi imali kaTeko ma. But anyway, in terms of you yourself, having positioned yourself in the industry the way you have, do you sometimes feel pressure that, you know what, I need to always be a 10 out of 10 man, even though you don't feel 10 out of 10 inside?
Not really. I think only now that I can get away with so much.
Yeah.
Because through the years, I was struggling to find some sort of identity.
Yeah.
Because, like the guys have said, in sport you get judged a lot. And with that said, within the personality itself, you don't show much. You only want to show on the pitch. So anything about outside the pitch, we're not taught to be expressive in that sense. So therefore, you're taught to be conservative all the time, be humble and all that type of stuff. So once I found my identity and the passion of clothing as well, because I'm from Soweto, it's always been there. I remember even when I was a kid, like I would draw sketches without understanding why I was drawing those. But it felt some type of weird way, you know?
Because I couldn't go next to her, but drawing.
Yeah, you know?
Me.
Yeah, but once you find a little bit of comfort within yourself, I think that's when then the style that starts showing out. Because like I've always said, there's people with style and there's people that are fashionable. And those who are fashionable, they follow the trends, everything that is new, they always wear that. Those who are style, they're able to mix and match and find comfort within those. And I think for me, personally, I think like Nqobile said, it's about the comfort. You know, once you're comfortable in whatever that you're wearing, own it. Because for now, it's just the bravery. Now I can wear anything that I feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter anymore because I've surpassed the stage where I feel like people are going to judge me, so I don't care anymore. So I just literally express myself through clothing.
So moral of the story, get to the level where you don't give a damn. And you have enough money not to give a damn. Something as well that you guys had mentioned, and please feel free to just jump in, let the conversation flow like the river now. That's where I'm going next, by the way.
Sorry to interrupt you.
As you were
Say
saying.
something.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, when you were saying you were like sketching stuff, right?
You too.
When I was a kid, I drew on the inside of our cupboard, like a big guy with like all the different brands and stuff like that.
Nice.
That's so crazy, actually.
There's a whole graphical thing coming. I used to draw Power Rangers. Does that count? Yeah.
I used to cut my clothes when I was younger. My mom hated it.
That's called being rich.
I know. My mom hated it. We don't have that kind of money to be just be cutting up clothes. Listen, I used to cut my clothes and my mom used to hate it so much. And I used to be like, Mom, I want to be a designer. Like if I got like a t-shirt, I'd cut it. Even like still to this day, I'm a fan of cutting clothes every now and then.
Still do that
If
as
I
well.
like if I buy something and I'm like, look better if I cut it this way.
cut it this way, yeah.
Or if I put it like together this way. That's how style is.
Note to self, don't give Nqobile scissors.
I really don't.
Right.
Don't do it.
Something as well that I picked up, a common thread. Our style is influenced from where we come from. Our backgrounds, our diversity. I mean, Pumem Sotra, you from a different part of the country. You guys say same province, by the way.
Eastern Cape,
Eastern Cape. Shout out to EC. That boy Namatota. You from KZN?
I'm from Durban.
You from Durban.
It's Tegwin.
So tell me a bit about what was the early style in Eastern Cape? Was it secret socks? Was it that much of a secret? Was it what was going on at that time?
Oh, okay. I'm just going to speak it because I'm coming from rural areas.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, back in the day, was more sports stuff, tracksuit, running sneakers.
Do you
at the
think it's
same
because
time.
people couldn't push the boundaries given the socio-economic situations of the areas in which you were coming from?
I think also the influence, how you see things, and it depends where you're from. It's limited. So social media wasn't that much that time. So everything that you see, you probably go to town.
Get influenced by it.
Yeah, or you saw one of the guy probably is working in a nice place at the same time. He does afford to buy probably sneakers at the same time. So you're kind of catching up on that. Also, it's kind of trend when we go into the bush at the same time, when you're coming back, and where certain
If you know, you know what he's talking about. If you know, you know.
So yeah, I think the more I went like somewhere traveling, see a lot of people at the same time, because I normally see people wearing stuff. So I want this, but it's so expensive.
Yes,
I can't
it is.
afford it. And then I'll just give up on that. You know, at the same time, the waves comes and goes.
Wayne, yourself coming from the same province of EC, what was some of the style influences around you?
So I must say, unfortunately, the drug dealers were probably the original influences.
Look.
Style, because
The
they had the money,
Gambinos
right?
family, yeah.
They had the money,
yeah.
so I think in the early parts we were really influenced by that, but also American culture, because
Yes,
on
sir.
TV we used to see that. I remember when I was a kid, Above the Rim, that
Oh,
was
that
obviously
was
big, you know what I'm saying? So I
Poetic
had the
justice.
sneakers, and then obviously sport as well. So drawing inspiration from sport. For me as a kid, Manchester United was big, and obviously Beck starting.
Hey, don't talk about
David
the
Beckham
team.
was the kind of first guy from a non-American space to actually kind of step out and be a little bit different. And I think it's nice to see more people doing that.
Yeah. That's fantastic. I mean, he had the gangsters influencing him.
They were, unfortunately. Yeah.
Your style is already gangster. What was happening around Msotra during the times you growing up?
I think because it's always to you, of course, at that time, like you rightfully say, the gangsters are the ones who have more moolah, more cash, and they always want to dress well so that they can get the hottest chick in,
of course.
in the hood. So because you see them a lot, so you get influenced by that, and then that's the life also that you aspire to, without understanding the background of it. But then also for me personally, because I was influenced more by music, so I listened to music all the time. So with music as well is the feeling that it gives me. Like even now, when I shower, when I change, everything that I do, there has to be music in the background. So because it gives me a better feeling.
Yes.
The very same
Puts you
fit
in
that
the
I
right
have,
mood, yeah.
the very same fit that I have, maybe next month or next week, it might feel different. I might not like it because it feels a little bit different. It's not the same point. It's not the same. So for now, it's like just being around the hood and looking at everybody else, how they dress, and also trying to find an identity within that. Like Nqobile said, I used to cut a lot of stuff, and I'm from a very, very poor family as well. So I used to get clothes from different people, and I'll cut them. They'll be mad at me for the fact that we gave you a T-shirt, but you're cutting it. I've always been different,
Not
but it's
understanding your vision.
yeah, but also I didn't understand it as well. So being different at the time was a taboo. So you shouldn't be different. Everybody wanted to dress the same because you remember when I grew up, there was like, in music, there was groups. It was TLC, yeah, all those, and they all dressed the same, right? So for me, there was no personality within that. So you all need to look the same, and I always struggle with fitting in. So I've always been like a person that is always on the outside, and for me, like when I started realizing that, maybe paying more attention to it, I found joy and peace in the fact that I am different, so I don't have to fit in all the time. So, and also that translated into fashion and to other things as well that I'm doing.
Look, my grandmother once told me, you're one of one. There is no one like you in the world. Why try fit in when you were created never to fit in?
Exactly.
You can quote me on that one. Shout out, Kogo. Bobs, I want to change up the question, your side. You guys have been different parts of the world on numerous occasions, whether it's work or is on a personal nature. I mean, you just came back. Where you come from, girl?
I come back from San Francisco.
Say it again, what?
San Francisco.
She came back from San Francisco.
I had to go see the NBA boys. What's happening?
All-Star
weekend.
Do they do 2 liter over that side?
No,
not 2 liter.
But everything is bigger.
Is it?
Yes, everything is.
I wish I could say what I was thinking.
no,
But anyway,
no.
we're not there. Nqobile, in terms of the comparison, and this, I open this to you guys as well. Mzansi Africa, we're a completely different genre of people. I mean, Trevor Noah once said, when the world is going that way, South Africa, short left, Trevor. We'll do the complete opposite. What have you found are the different style contrasts from South Africa when you travel to Europe and you travel to America?
Well, firstly, it would be seasonal because obviously the north and the south is always on like a different vibe.
Yeah.
Right now it's winter there. They are ahead in terms of certain trends, and then we are a bit behind. Sometimes seasons behind, not even just like a season behind, a couple of seasons behind. And with that, we're behind in trends. So whereas certain things might be out for them and they're completely not doing it, we might still only be coming into it.
Yeah.
As well as I feel like with them, they're a lot more daring. I think they're not as fearful. I think in South Africa, as much as we are open-minded, we are the Rainbow Nation, and there are a lot of things that are changing. We're still a little bit conservative when it comes to fashion. We don't always push boundaries. Don't always feel like we can just take it all the way there. Also, things like dressing the way you want to dress, wherever you want to dress, because you've got to think about your safety and how you can dress in certain spaces because it's conservative. And it's it's America. I'm going to speak more to America, and then I'll speak a little bit about Europe. But like America, they push the boundaries all the way. European, they like to keep it clean, they like to keep it simple. America, they'll adapt it and make it their own all the way. They don't mind to take it all. Everything's bigger there. In Europe, they like to keep it clean, chic, fitted. In South Africa, I think that we're still growing and we're still finding our own vibe, but I think I love brands like Tyler because we're able to see what it is like to own your brand. Brands like these that I'm sitting next to where I'm like, you know, the boys have come in and they've owned it, they've made it their own to say they're South African, they like certain styles, they make things look like the way that they like to make it look like.
Interesting. You want to say?
To jump on that, I think also, I agree with you. It's also, I think it's quite different in South Africa because we have a different like culture at the same time. So so it becomes so difficult because the time I grew up, I told to not wear a baggy or something like that. So it's now more that side. It's more totally different with Americans at the same time.
When you've traveled the world, I mean, different areas couldn't count me.
I completely agree with Nqobile there. In the States, one thing that I also picked up was different cities will have their own style.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, and I think like in South Africa, we should really own that as well. So like the different cities should dig into that, identity and actually, I must see someone and be like, oh, okay, this guy is definitely from Joburg or this guy from Durban or whatever. And I think we're so scared to like just break the mold, man. You know what I'm saying?
I like that. Jay, something coming up with something there.
Can I just add to what Wayne just said? With that, I think we do kind of have that, just subtly though.
Yeah.
When you see somebody from Pretoria, you can kind of see it.
I don't think it's enough.
But it isn't enough. I think we are progressively getting there. A Durban flip-flop with jeans, you're going to see it. And I hate to say it, I'm from Durban and I'm going to say, the Durban flip-flops, you're going to see it. I'm from Durban, they can't fight me.
But what I'm saying is like, I want to see stylish people. Like if you're just wearing fellies and shorts, I must be, you know what I'm saying? You must still be dressing cool and be like, oh, okay, cool. This guy's from there. Because if you see someone from like New York, you'll know they're from New York.
You would know
what I'm saying?
Yes,
so like that's the thing. But maybe seasonally as well, like in South Africa, the difference between summer and winter is not as vast as, you go to Europe, like it's cold, it snows and that type of stuff. Like
I want to then change your mind as if we're changing our change clothes and go. In terms of the different sporting codes, do soccer players have to wear a certain fit? Is it acceptable to wear what Mapimpi is wearing coming from the rugby side of things? Are battle lawns drawn or are they as thin as paper?
Number one, in football, we judge each other so much.
A lot.
Right? In the sense that even when you do interviews, people will be like standing next to you just to hear whether you're going to speak proper English or not.
They do that a lot. That's crazy.
Yeah, so you can imagine from that aspect itself, so you'll be so afraid to express yourself in terms of clothing. So you won't be able to do that. And I strongly believe that we became a culture that laughs at each other, right? We once had this conversation where we looked at all the best players in the world. When they do interviews, they do it in their own language. But when it comes to us, we're forced to speak English because we want to sound smart and all that stuff. And with that as well, with that influence as well, we undermine what we have. We undermine our language, we undermine our culture. So therefore, then that's why I said in Joburg, as much as we're more of a fashion trend type of a city, but everything for us is like it has to be big brands. It has to be like in your face. You know, if it's Burberry, it needs to be from year to year and all that type of stuff. So we all dress the same. So once you become different, there's a little bit of a stigma. You've been called names on the side. They'll never say it to you in your face, but you'll be called names on the side because you're much more braver. And I think also like in football, but now because of the social media, I've seen now more personalities are starting to show up. People are now starting to express themselves. But the problem also is people seem to forget that as a footballer, when you're wearing that kit, like my people say, when you're wearing a kit to go play, you're a footballer. Then once you're out of there, you're a totally different person. You left your football place, you left the rugby or cricket there. But then in the football spaces, like now, we still remind those players that, hey, don't forget that last week you made a mistake, we lost the game. But you understand? So
So, they will tell you.
We were having that conversation off air, actually. Yeah, literally the exact same thing. And I actually said to him, like, you know what? If you don't feel comfortable speaking in a certain language, throw in a couple of words, especially when you're here. When you're overseas, it's a bit different, you know what I'm saying? Because people won't understand. But if you throw one or two of your like native, words in, it's cool. It shows also that you're comfortable with, being who you are. Like Teko mentioned there, like for you to only do a certain thing because it's the right thing to do. I promise you're going to be chasing your tail the whole time.
yeah.
You know what I find ironic? You go to France, they don't like speaking English.
Exactly.
You have to speak.
It's actually rude.
It's rude.
It's rude to speak English.
You speak English, you should learn some French.
You know what? I know Vava Voom. How what? Meleba Voom. I've just remixed it. Mapimpi, what have you found in terms of, you're watching Teko on the weekend, he's doing his stuff, you're like, I would like to try that, but I'm a rugby guy. Can I get away with it? What's your thinking behind crossing and taking inspiration from different sporting codes?
Yeah, I think it's very important that to take some few things from people all the time. I think it's the same thing if you guys understand in terms of sport-wise, because of you get gifted with certain special thing at the same time, but the more you spend time with people, you kind of learn a lot of things. This way you become a good player at the same time. So me going probably Japan, spend more time in Japan, going around Japan, see around what's going on, see people dressing in a certain way.
They're the best anyway.
No, they are. I love Asian
Japanese.
culture.
Whoa.
Japan.
They're the best.
They're
the best.
you went to Japan
Bro,
when you go there.
They're the best. They're the best.
Bro, my first time, most special ladies, bro, go to the offices, bro, every single time walking there, bro, I was like, oh my gosh, I wish this thing can happen in South Africa at the same time. I think it's funny in terms of what Teko was saying at the same time. Fashion, you don't have to speak English, you don't have to speak well at the same time. If you can identity also be creative at the same time. Emotional sometimes, it does happen. Simple things.
For me, we are African. We'll always be African, and African can. Doesn't matter. So,
Can I just add to what he said now?
100%.
And what Wade said
like
now?
your hair, by the way.
You stole my style. But when expressing yourself, and just as a person who sometimes interviews some of the players, I think you are best articulate when you're expressing yourself comfortably. The same way with clothes. When you're comfortable, you look the best, we can see it, your stride, your confidence. When you're going to express yourself, if you feel like it's better to say something in vernac, to say it in Afrikaans, to say it in English, just say it. The way you would normally say it if you were speaking to somebody. It's up to the person at home to see your emotions through the way you're expressing yourself. Because when you try to articulate something different and you're trying to now put it in English, sialahlek.
And also think like I think the biggest challenge that we're facing is knowing yourself. I think most of people finding yourself. You know. So lucky are those who actually still alive and be able to understand who you are and what you are, because a lot of people are struggling to do that. That's why you find a lot of similarities in so many people, because people are copying, they don't know who they are. And also once they do that, now the challenge becomes then, can I be myself within all the things that I've seen around? That's the biggest challenge. And I think also in sports, that's something that we're struggling with. And you said something in the beginning of the show. You spoke about Iverson. What Iverson changed, he brought tattoos and cornrows into sports.
He did.
He changed the whole complexion into sport. He's the first guy to merge sports and music and into that. And he was criticized when he did it. Right? But now, in hindsight, in years and years, everybody now looks like Iverson in NBA. Cornrows, tattoos, you know, the sleeve and all that type of stuff. So at times, when you're the first of first, you're always going to be criticized. But the thing is, like, once you own it, everybody else that comes after you, they'll be able to copy and translate it to something else. So I'm saying to everybody else, once you find who you are, once you find your style, my man, just do it.
Look, in the great words of Maporis, Yay! So that's something, another interesting talking point. Why do we not merge music and sports together in terms of an infusion of fashion? Asboni, like for instance, Kabza will do a collab with Teko.
In what sense?
Shampizi will do a collab with Durban Gogo. Why are we not seeing these cross-pollination
And I think
in
those
South
cultures,
Africa?
those cultures
They
love each
exist,
other. Like
yeah.
when I tell you, I have some friends in the music industry, and they are excited, ecstatic, love the athletes of South Africa, celebrate them daily. But I just think that we have not maybe reached that point, because even when you look at like abroad, your Lewis Hamilton, you will see him at a concert celebrating somebody, and even now he's trying to produce. He wants to go into music, and he's merging his
Lewis,
love
don't
for
do that,
fashion.
please. Don't
He's
do
already
that.
started working on it.
Okay.
You know, he started working on it. Charles Leclerc even is working on music. So you're finding those mergers, but I think in South Africa maybe we just haven't progressed enough, because, or maybe the conversations are not being had, or there's no common middleman who's trying to make sure that happens, because those people love the athletes here in South Africa, even globally, love the sports, love to go to these things.
As much as we love each other, but once we're in the same space, we still compete.
Compete with
Yeah.
each other. That's what I was
Do you
gonna
understand
say.
what I'm saying? We compete even though we're in different fields. Like people are moving weird out here. Like I would love Mapimpi, right? But when I get into his space and then I'm acting like I don't like the guy. So I think
you
that's,
don't see him.
Or I don't see him because of
Every time you
because the
see
ego. Yeah, because the ego kicks in. You know, because the ego kicks in a little bit. You know, and I think that's what we're struggling with. But also, I personally, for me, I like making people uncomfortable. I really like
You
it.
like that?
Yeah. If you're uncomfortable with my presence, I enjoy it because it's not on me. It's on you. It's exactly that's how you receive me. But if you have a conversation with me, you'll realize that I'm not exactly whatever that you think that I am. So in terms of music as well, I do have music friends as well in music.
Don't tell me you're also dropping a mixtape.
No. But it's always the same thing. Like we'll speak about the game, we'll speak about football, we'll speak about anything on the sports. But once other footballers are coming in, then it becomes a problem. So you start sensing the tension in between because the honeys are also running, and that's where it is actually.
Women are the issue. It's not that you have issues with each other. It's the woman in this issue.
You don't want to go out with
Speak with your
hottest
people.
one.
Please, we need to start a women's conference. Chapter 1.
No.
Please, let's stop hlukumezing the poor gents. Speaking about women, he's got a lovely woman by his side who styles him, who grooms him, who feeds him spiritually, stylishly. Man, I could do all the initially. Tell me a bit about the relationship with yourself and your wife when it comes to cross-pollinating with fashion.
So she was a big driver in like, be who you are, but not just in this space, in this private space as well. Like go out there and actually show people like what you're about. We're just scared of being judged. So she was big, like, you know what, don't worry about it, just keep doing it. And then you do it a few times, there's backlash. But then you do it again, there's less backlash, and then you just feel comfortable, and then you're just happy with who you are. And I think that's the most important thing. Like Teko was saying, that if you feel uncomfortable in his presence, he's comfortable. You understand what I'm saying? So as long as you feel comfortable and you're not pretending to be something in a space to fit in, I think there's so much beauty in that. Honestly.
It's about pretending. I don't understand why people are pretending. A Fiat can't pretend to be a Ferrari. You were never built to go fast.
Exactly.
If you're supposed to go fast, go fast. Damn whatever people think. Mapimpi, tell me about this one. in terms of casual wear and a suit, when is it the right time? Suit namhlanje, or do you just go a simple little two-piece with the shorts and the shirt? When is it the perfect time?
I think it's more when everyone is wearing like a formal thing, and probably it's the event, the Springbok or Sharks, all of the stuff. But when it's kind of like another side, probably entertainment, people can wear whatever they want to wear. So I need to step up from the suit because everyone can wear a suit, everyone can look good in the suit at the same time. But if you can create that, even wear stuff, the same stuff, it's like the pants.
I like this whole collaboration.
Thank you.
Going, my brother.
Thank you.
Steal that, by the way.
Oh,
As you can tell, yeah, don't you?
No, relax.
She jacked my hat. She about to jack your swag. Anyway, jokes aside.
that's a way how to style yourself. You still
Yeah.
stuff from people. It's always like a new trend.
Yeah.
But you can actually take that and then put it in your own way at the same time. If you like watching like NBA now,
Yeah.
it's kind of like
They've gone European style now.
it's a fashion show
Yeah,
thing,
it's a fashion
at
show.
the same time.
It's
Yeah,
a whole
it's
channel work. It's a whole.
They've got a whole page
yeah.
for it now.
So
Yes, a whole Instagram page. It
So people
fits.
making money on that
Yeah.
thing. Also, the brand is coming up at the same time. You know. So having
Do you
that.
guys think is there something South Africa should try?
Yes.
Going the NBA route where
Well,
you know it's
funny
match day, we see the players
Yes.
coming through.
At Western Province Cricket last year, we actually did that. It was called the Drip Day.
Nice.
And all of our home games, it was towards the end of the season. And we were like, you know what? Let's just try
trip
this.
out, yeah.
I swear to you, besides like, people can score hundreds, take fifers or whatever. It
was about
the
the drip.
response that those posts got, from men, ladies, kids, like, and it's something different. But you know what is the worst thing though? Is like, you always get criticized on the performance. It's got nothing to do, like me rocking up like this for a game, it's got nothing to do with how I'm going to play.
Yeah, that's true.
But then it's like, oh, you guys are more focused on this.
Yes, always.
You are
Go
never
and
going to
practice.
please everybody, guys. You can score 100 and they'll still say something about your shoes. Nqobile, I don't know if you want to add to. Should we be bringing the whole All-Star weekend element to South African sports, stretch it to cricket, golf, rugby, the likes?
The one thing I will say is sports is a business, and if you want to find other ways to make it a little more lucrative, you want to add an entertainment factor, and entertainment factor also incorporates
here
style.
first.
Style is a big factor for
Yeah.
me. Has been a big factor. Bringing the way I dress to work, and I'm not on the field like that. I'm doing the interviews, so. I feel like we want to see our athletes. We look at them as heroes. They are these superhuman people who do the impossible. They push their bodies to their limits. They're committed to excellence. We also look at the fact that they're human. People don't fall in love just with the numbers, but they also fall in love with the fact that these people wake up and push for excellence every single day. They love the
they do it
hero
looking
element.
swaggy on
And
top of that.
and then if you can find another thing to relate to them about, even better. And they all have their own personal individual styles that you will fall in love with in some shape or form, or you can relate to, and that even draws a person closer to that particular athlete. It's not just I like the way they play. You like the way that they speak, they swagger, the way that they maneuver. Look at Jalen Hurts with the NFL, what he did with the Eagles just now.
Yeah.
People love the way that he lights up a cigar. He dresses very classy, very simple. He's a gentleman.
People just
the
like
whole
the fact you got money, man.
No, but the whole persona prior to this, it helps. But I'm saying it helps, and it helps a lot.
He should know. He should know.
It helps a lot. But it's part of like building this human and a human element to your athlete because they are superhuman to a certain degree.
Yeah.
But you bring a human touch and an element to them, and that gives a more relatability factor. And I also feel like brands, corporates, the actual leagues, the actual federations can make so much money from it when they try and make sure that they also allow this kind of thing to happen.
But also like in South Africa, because of the culture, we have so much.
I was going to say that.
Yeah, like
It's
we're
the cultural
very
shift that has to
cultural,
happen,
especially
yeah.
in football. Like if I remember, there was this thing that was happening. Like when you go for a cup final, you'll be forced to wear suits. Then you lose, like it's because of the suits.
Yeah.
Right.
But you ain't gonna
Yeah, like you've been playing all along, you've been doing fine, you're wearing check suits, and all of a sudden you wear suits, now you lose. So I think it's more a cultural thing. And I also believe as well that in the US, because the numbers are crazy, there's so many people, there's so many fashion hubs that you can actually tap into. In South Africa, we don't have as many. So then even if we do get into that fashion space, we end up dressed the same because we go into the same store to actually buy. You understand what I'm saying?
Just on that, sorry to interrupt you. Do you think maybe that's got something to do with like So in South Africa, right, when you a kid, you wear a uniform every day to school.
Yeah, yeah.
In
Facts.
America,
Starts
they
there.
don't do that, right?
Starts there.
That's a good
starts
point.
there.
So like,
That's-
I think
that's
we're
a
conditioned
good
to wear the
point,
same
yeah.
thing every single day.
It starts there.
That's a
That's
really
big.
good point.
You can't stand out. You must all have the same hairstyle. It starts there.
Yes.
Where now you can't be your own person.
It's just a question for me because we get like watching a lot of American things. Also, I'm also like that, more special music. It's like the
I heard you
style.
like Real Housewives. Is that true?
What? No, so doing that, not forgetting your culture at the same time. How we balance that as a South African, because it's good, the fashion is good because it does bring money in the table. Also, brands, also they can also go up at the same time. But how we can control that, because years and years we've been talking about America, all of this, which is nothing wrong because we see something different. At the same time, we can actually jump in. Actually, YouTube thing, people starting YouTube in America, and then everyone now is almost making YouTube, and then they're getting money because of people don't work. So how do we actually control that as us, not forgetting your culture, the way you speak? It did affect me because I grew up in a village. I couldn't speak English, and then when I met, probably the guy went to private school. He's speaking different.
B.
You know, I was like, oh my God, what's going on? I don't know what I can fit in at the same time. So it's just a question for me. When we're talking about this, probably we can just pick that as well.
I really like where this conversation is going because my takeaway listening to all you guys, there's a uniqueness in being who we are.
Yes.
Kuhle man bumxhosa.
Yeah.
Lovua Dumachero, the vendor's got a beautiful culture. The Tsongas, have you seen the color schemes? Why are we shunning that in order to fit in for something that we've never been and we never will be?
Because we're striving to be cool.
But there's
can I
different
s-
ways to be cool.
But can I answer this?
Sorry, sis. But because we don't have a template of people that were cool within that culture itself, so then everybody's scared to be the first. Because being the first, you're always going to be.
You're always going to be judged,
Yeah.
you're
So
crucified.
and because America, they're the most influential, so they do have a template. Start with MJ when they're playing in NBA, then it's changed to A1 and all that type of stuff. So in South Africa, even though you are a Tsonga, a vendor, when you come to Joburg, the first thing that you learn is to speak Zulu because Zulu is cool.
That's true.
You want to fit
And
in.
in order to fit in, you
in
need
order
that
to fit
language,
in. So
yeah.
all of us are trying to fit in at some point. We want to be liked. We want to be loved. So it's the fitting in part because we're so scared of being alone. And in China, it's not nice being alone. It's not nice. So we always want to fit in. And once we find out we're able to fit in, that's when you'll see most of them. Then after some time, because you found your comfortability, then you're able to step out and be by yourself. But in the beginning, you always want to fit in. You want to be in the group. You want to dress the same. You want to speak the same. And all that type of stuff. That's my take for me.
You were going to add something?
I was going to say, similar to what he's saying, it's just that, like, I think we thrive to be something that we always try and avoid who we are and we deflect from what we naturally are and our origins. Like, I think it's the first time we're seeing on a global platform somebody embrace being South African, like the likes of a Tyler going up and saying,
I'm trying to Tyler,
no, I make her as a point, a cultural reference.
Understand.
Purely because I think that as in terms of fashion and owning being South African, she's one of the few to actually do it.
Yeah, facts.
Because we've seen a Trevor leave South Africa, we've seen a Tuso leave South Africa, we've seen a Charlize Theron leave South Africa. They go and they embody being westernized. We've even seen like a Nomzamo go and live in being South Africa. And yes, to a certain degree,
Terry Petro before her
yes,
as well.
Terry Petro. They do go and they do have a little bit of African in them, but they do become westernized quite quickly. Whereas I feel like somebody who, and I thought at some point maybe it might be a little jarring for them to see somebody own being an uppity African, where it's like you embrace being African, you don't want to be a part of them, you just want to be who you are and own it. And now we're only seeing our own stars, the Burna Boys on the African soil. Yeah, Davido, Burna Boy, Ira Star, Thames. We're seeing them, the Wizkid, in terms of the music influence, because a lot of the time fashion is also influenced heavily by the music industry. So the more we're seeing our own people come to stardom and global stardom, we have something to now look to and say, okay, maybe I can. And they're not going and saying, I want to be European like that. They're owning the way they speak, they're owning the way they dress, they're owning their cultures. So I think the more we get more representation, and like you're saying, people just being comfortable with who they are and being taught that it's okay to be you.
So it is true then about faking until you make it, because the musicians that you're speaking of, in the beginning, they also were westernized. So once they become successful, they're like, okay, I'm gonna own my Africanism.
I'm gonna do my own thing.
Yeah.
African brother.
Yeah. So I guess maybe many people, for you to maybe step out and be your own person, I think maybe it requires a successful person. You need to be successful for you not to start carrying. Because I can just imagine from a football point of view, I'm playing for a relegation team. I can't be stylish.
Yeah, you can't be tripped out.
Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm fighting. I'm like, my name is
Relax, focus on the
So I need
past.
to be successful first. Let me win certain things, and then based on success, you get accepted, and then that's what we need. After acceptance, maybe then I can step away and be myself. I think maybe that plays a huge part as well.
And you know, just you trying to up your game and be accepted, make sure you come down here at Sandton City and touch base with some of these lovely products here. Because I'll tell you what, you will feel highly accepted. You feel me? Me as well.
So, say especially young
hey, look, I want to try something. I'm going to name a year. And you tell me what drip comes to mind during that time. But if it was 92, what was the fit then? If it was
92.
Just remember, we have a huge age gap
Oh
here.
yeah, wait, you're 2000.
Oh, really?
I'm not 2000, I'm 96, but there's a huge age gap here with these
I'll
boys.
start
wait,
2001
Tupac,
for you. Tupac. Teko, I'll start with you. The year is 1998. France have just won a World Cup. What was happening?
I think it was
Not an exam, Mapimpi.
the fit then. I think it was your denim and a blazer.
Okay.
Yeah, I think with like maybe a colored tie, because I think at that time, if you remember, there was still not, it was still 92, the NBA All-Star. I think the transition before the
Dream Team, I think was
Dream
around
Team
about
was
that,
at that time. So I think that was the fashion then, where you can mix. I don't think it was a smart casual look. Yeah, like with your denim and then all that type of stuff. I think that was the look then, conservative look.
Wayne Parnell, 2010, Zakumi was here. He left though.
10. I mean, for myself, it was a terrible time.
Sorry about that. You should change the
Style-wise,
year.
It switched up, but I think personally, I was still trying to figure out kind of where I like fit in. And I think back in 2010, for me, David Beckham was a big influence. So I'd have like, he used to have that Osaka number 6 T-shirt. So I used to wear that with like baggy jeans, but
I see you, G.
I've like switched it up a little bit now.
I see you, David B. Makazole Mapimpi, he's been fretting, he's been stressing. I'll make it easy for you, myself. The year is 2022. Not so long ago. Recently, right now. Born and done.
After COVID.
After COVID. We unshackled ourselves.
I think that changed us.
They did change us. Big time.
It changed how we dress, changed style, everything.
Yeah, I think it did change at the same time because I remember 2022, 2022, I was trying to throw away my skinny jeans.
After COVID, the skinny jeans were
Skinny
gone.
jeans are gone.
I was trying to. It's so funny because most of the time I'm the guy that tries something, and then the influence.
Shout out to you, by the way.
The influence that I can see with people around me, how they are dressed at the same
So it's
time.
about Colin. They will never say to you secretly, Makazole, you influence me. But around the corners, they're calling,
I can. It's not the pressure. As I'm saying, it's not something that people can actually be proud of saying that at the same time. But it's something that I do see around me at the same time. So I remember the time skinny jeans was coming in, and then I started wearing skinny jeans, and it was people bashing me, but why are you wearing those tight stuff? My legs so nice at the same time. So everything was looked so good at the same time. Yeah. Why are you wearing uncomfortable stuff at the same time? So it's something that sometimes in fashion you need to be up ahead with people so people can follow you at the same time. You know? So you create a kind of like a trend. It depends with probably your province or the place that you.
Yeah. Mostly as well, some of your influences having come up. You said you born what, 1999?
96.
96?
Tupac was still
Tupac was still alive.
Tupac was still in the hospital.
Was he in the hospital?
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Pac.
My mom and Tupac share a birthday, hey? Like
Is
an
that so?
exact birthday, like date, year.
Oh, that's
wasn't
crazy.
far off.
Is she a musician as well?
No.
Oh, okay. Switching it very quickly, 96, South Africa just won an AFCON as well. What a time to be alive in Sekas and Khupela. was a tough
Are you
time.
asking me about
Yeah, I'm
when I
asking-
was born?
No, okay, 96. We'll move it forward to. I can only ask you about 2000s because then you were older by then.
Yes.
Let's say 2012. What was going on 2012 Star-wise around your area where you're growing up?
Oh, wow. First of all, we thought the world was going to end. So we really
Oh,
were
'cause
going.
Y2K doing. Okay.
Yeah, no, you remember the movie 2012? The world was supposed to end in 2012. Don't you guys remember? The world was supposed to end.
I don't watch that one. I don't watch that. Yeah, I don't watch
sorry.
it. When you
Okay.
have too much time on your hands.
DC sneakers. Does anybody remember Skater Boy era?
Yeah.
We were doing the Skater Boy. Cramping was still a thing. So it was the Bape and like wearing like the hoodies and wearing the skinny jeans still. Neon bangles, neon earrings.
Neon bangles?
You wanted to braid your hair
Why are we
half
trying to
side.
shine?
Because the dance movies were coming out. All the dance movies influenced the
Master
style.
Pop.
Yeah, so you're wearing the skater shoes, but you were cramping in them. You weren't skating in them.
Hopefully you're still in those shoes once you finish cramping.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And then the hoodies, the Babe, like it was Chris Brown's era. It was like all those dance movies was Step Up, I think. 1, 2.
Honey was also. Was
Honey
it
was
not?
a little
Was it a little
earlier.
earlier.
Yeah.
That's
Are
what
we
I'm saying.
exposing our age or?
Shampizi. Exactly. Shampizi, what to say, Sam?
Now I'm just gonna ask Nqobile about, like you was in America, right?
Yes, I was in America now.
So how was the pressure when you go that side, that you coming from South Africa at the same time? So I'm speaking about the experience
Yeah.
when we travel to London.
Let's see you as an upward
So
black.
people can actually see where you come from. So I'm talking about Puma was wearing like a pants baggy, the jacket thing. You know. So a few people try to recognize me where I'm coming from, all of this stuff. You know, it's based off the style because of that style now it's in London. So how's that pressure? Because people can actually, when you're walking around, can look at you. Oh, geez, South Africa or
She
something.
not from here.
How is that thing? You know?
That's so crazy because, funny enough, I was having this conversation with the NBA Africa team. Oh, my friends actually, when I was getting ready, we had an NBA Africa lunch on at the NBA All-Star Weekend. So it's to celebrate NBA Africa. So it's more the African stars, the ones who have gone crossed over, made it
Bushani
big.
said
And
it.
also they've got their own league here, the BAL.
Yeah.
So I said on that particular day, I had this hair on, which is straight. I said on that particular day, I want to wear curly hair. Why do I want to wear curly hair? I want to appear more African because I don't have braids now, but I want to appear more African to my African peers to remind them I am African. The color I wanted to wear that day, I ended up wearing black because I was working more media side, but I wanted to wear this green, which I think was more of an African thing where it's like we wear bright colors as Africans. The jewelry is a bit different. Our skin, like it glows. I think like we into that kind of stuff. So I wanted to appear more African and I was happy to appear African. I think it's never been a better time to be African. Between Amapiano, Afrobeats, what's happening with now just the rise of everything around us. I'm happy to be African, but I do feel like there is a pressure to show that you, number one, are African, and that also that, yes, I fit in here, being from Africa, owning that I'm African, not having to fall into the trap of wanting to fit in with you guys, but still setting my own tone.
Yeah, look, me, I think I would struggle trying to fit in, guys. Like, I've always been that guy, doing my own thing.
Yeah.
So I have no problem. And, you know, I asked you guys the dates for a reason, the years for a reason. It's the evolution of style, which brings me to my next topical point. Date night drip, that's changed up. We've seen date night drip. We've seen, I know me and you haven't been on a lot of dates, not together, but like separately. It's fine, we're working on it. Me and Makazole made a pact that in the next 2 years we'll try to get married and Teko will be the MC. Don't quote me on that one. But date night drip has changed up. It's no more rocking up in tight jeans and tight shirts. And I can rock a Palmera shirt for my first date. The evolution of soccer shirts coming into modern day, everyday
You're
culture.
forcing that, but we're taking it.
We're killing it. We're forcing it.
Forcing
Have you
it
seen
all.
some of the shirts? Arsenal has amazing shirts.
The retro shirts are
The retro shirts. I mean, that Liverpool one.
I think
Yeah, I don't do that.
But that's the next one, eh? Not this one. I want this one, please. Not this
How
one.
many sports shirts, how many soccer shirts do you have?
mine.
Yeah, that just collected all around.
I don't know where they are. I don't know. I was never a big fan of changing t-shirts.
really?
No.
So
I don't
what
even
if
have
it's like
I
a
don't
game, Nabo Pogba?
Yeah, I used to have those jerseys, but I gave them away. Because I was pressured, because everybody was changing jerseys, I'll change. But then it doesn't mean anything to me. Yeah, no, like
the
when
jersey.
you, like for instance,
He
we playing
didn't
against
like
Spain,
that.
you change the jerseys. And then you'll have the jersey.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, like a week later, it doesn't mean anything to me.
Awkward, though.
Yeah, like,
It is?
like I never really, I'll never go to somebody
I've
like
always wondered that.
Crosswords.
How, take me through that experience. Mhlambe, let's say it's an opposition winger who says, you know, Makazole, I look up to you, man. You're a warrior. Let's exchange shirts. What's going on there?
I think for me, it goes with probably the guy that was against probably did dominate me. You know, and it's one of the things that probably when I explain to my kids about rugby was, I can actually explain that this guy did give me the hard time. There's a jersey, all of this stuff. Those memories later on. Also, it's awkward for me to go to someone and say, there's a jersey. Let's swap at the same time. So probably I did swap jerseys 5 times.
I find that so fascinating
And then
for the number of caps that you have.
You know, like, why do you feel uncomfortable or awkward? Like, if that's someone that you really admire, I mean, if it's just a random person, you're not really good. It doesn't mean anything, right? But if it's someone that's like, yo, you know, like when you were growing up, like if there's a guy that you like played, let's say for instance, like when you were a youngster and like Brian Banner was at the, and you like watched this guy play. Now you're on the same field
And
as
you
him
play
playing against
against
him. You've gone past him a couple of times, there, a couple of tries, bang. It's a nice memory for you. You know what I'm saying?
It is. That's why I'm saying probably sometimes we're just holding our backs too much. You know, we're overthinking. That's a problem. That what the person gonna say at the same time. You know.
I remember there was an incident that we played Portugal in Switzerland.
Was this Portugal with Cristiano Ronaldo
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and Nani and those guys?
Yeah, Teko
I think I remember the game.
So the problem was as well that I think that changed how I look at exchanging jerseys. We're about to play, we're in the tunnel. Like we're walking in, doing doing inspections there by officials. My teammates are already asking jerseys. We haven't played.
Before the game.
Yeah. Before the game, right? You're asking T-shirts, right? So for me, it's like once, I don't mind admiring people. I've admired so many footballers. I've played against the best ones that I wanted to play against. And the memory is still there. But my problem is like once you show that side of you before the game starts, you've already been defeated. So what's the point of us going to the pitch and when we start competing? So for me, it changed as to then how I look at people changing. And I remember as well, we didn't have like the best looking jerseys, right? So they don't want to exchange with us. That's also another point. You understand?
Obviously with like social media now, you can't hide from it.
Yeah.
The worst things is like when the people exchange like with like say Messi or whoever, and like he like doesn't want the shirt, he just gives you his you know what I'm saying?
That's
and it's
tough.
called like
that's tough.
but then you get some of the guys are like nice. You can see like they're like
that's
nice, they're like,
tough,
okay,
though.
let me take the yes.
I remember a game, I'll let you now speak, Teko Mapimpi. France, Bafana.
Yeah.
That fateful day, I think they tapped us 5.
Not so long ago,
Yeah, so what I picked up after the game, the players were running towards the Pogba's of this world.
That's the culture that we
And I
have
thought to
in South
myself,
Africa.
these are our local heroes.
but-
Men you look up to, and then they walk up there as if now they're putting these guys on a pedestal. They just tapped you 5-0, shake his hand and go into the dressing room.
But you also, you know what they do in Europe now? Like, also, we were not allowed at times to exchange jerseys because we don't have so many jerseys to exchange. But what they've done also, what they've done in Europe, like players will exchange jerseys on the tunnel. Once they go to their own dressing room, they'll exchange jerseys. They're not on the pitch and all that type of stuff. So, and also based on the team that you're playing for, based on the sponsor that you have, you'll be allowed to do so. But then the challenge that we also used to have was when I was playing for another team that is black, we couldn't change jerseys, right? And with that is also we couldn't keep our own jerseys. So I don't have Orlando Pirates jerseys.
Why
we were never given
Why
one.
can't you keep your...
We were never given one. So even if I promise you.
You guys had to like give it back.
We had to give them back, and then they'll say they'll give us back,
Is it
and then we
because there's
never
not
did.
enough shirts or...
Dude, I don't know.
No, like sponsors and stuff would get.
Yeah,
like,
but still,
they
but when you're
import
playing
it
a
as well.
tournament, it's written there. It's written there.
Yeah.
So you can't keep the jersey from a club perspective.
Wow,
so you
that's
need to give it
crazy.
away. So that also in itself, it changes then the niceness of us as footballers in South Africa that admire each other changes. So we don't normally do it.
Last thoughts quickly. One word to describe your style. How would you like to be remembered, style-wise?
Bold.
Bold.
Timeless.
Timeless. Each one.
Creative.
Like that, creative.
Yeah, creative.
Creative. It's been boldly creative and timeless. On that note, we out of here, baby.